Good morning and welcome to Girl Dad Podcast. I am Scott O'Neill with our host,
Lexi,
my incredible 25-year-old daughter. We've been up to a bit of a rough start this morning, but we're very excited to dive into this podcast.
I think this is the fourth take that we've taken on this intro.
Just to say hello.
Just to say hello. It's an early morning. We both have crazy weeks right now. Our house is filled with like 30 people.
28 people in the house this week.
28 people, and it's a party. Like, it's
nonstop. It's a lot of fun.
It's nonstop. It's loud.
And we're here one of my favorite
and so fun.
holidays. 4th of July.
Which is
Independence Day.
4th of July is one of your favorite holidays.
Yes, it is.
Why?
Because it's obvious.
Why? That's
First of
such
all,
a weird
fireworks
holiday.
are awesome.
You love fireworks. I love fireworks.
We were all
too.
at the Phillies game. They put on an incredible fireworks show yesterday.
Wait, that was the most
and
amazing
a laser light
fireworks show
type thing.
And they had like audience participation. Your phone like lit up as part of the light show.
So that was the Phillies win. There's a great fireworks show.
Great fireworks
Family,
show.
pool, barbecue.
Yeah, I mean all amazing things. All amazing things. It makes sense.
I'm gonna do a little fireworks show in a couple of days. My own little homemade one.
And Scott O'Neill's homemade fireworks show, they're crazy.
It's not perfect.
They're crazy.
No, it's not perfect.
No, honestly, it's better than perfect.
No,
it's craziness.
Just a
it's
quick
scary.
little side story with the amazing Dave Ware.
Oh.
He's the one who introduced me to homemade fireworks shows. And the last time we were out with him, and he goes overboard. He makes like little canisters and shoots them over. But one of the canisters dropped and shot over the crowd, like just hit our friends' heads, and almost took out Lisa's cousin, Eric's side. Yeah.
That is so. What was that? Like 2 years ago?
Yeah. So be careful out there if you're doing a homemade fireworks show.
And our homemade fireworks too. Like they've definitely evolved thanks to Dave over the years. Like those things are in the sky.
No, they're real
they're
fireworks.
Legit. Like we are having fireworks for the neighborhood.
We go for it. It's the hair dangerous.
It's terrifying. It's definitely not safe.
But a lot of fun. We put a little music on in the background.
Yeah, it's good vibes. It's
Neil
great
Down,
vibes.
You know, coming to America. You know that song?
I should though.
Okay, well let's just jump right in. Independence is one of my favorite topics, as is interdependence. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Let's talk about
how I've been lecturing you guys on interdependence with your boys.
Wait, except we skipped the dad.
Yeah, I know we did, and we're gonna get right back into it.
Okay.
Let's talk about interdependence.
Okay, what is the difference between independence and interdependence?
Independence is you are confident, can take care of yourself, you're self-reliant in your emotions, in the way you go through the world, financially, that would be nice. Your work, your relationships. Interdependence means that you have your boyfriend on that 360 location finder thing, and if he doesn't text you in 15 minutes, you lose your mind.
Right. Okay.
And that's interdependence.
Okay. I see the difference. So independence is good. Interdependence is bad.
I think it's bad.
In what scenario is interdependence good?
I can't think of one.
Okay.
Remember when I was lecturing you guys?
Which time?
All four of you clowns were together.
Okay. Oh.
And one of your sisters, who remain nameless, sometimes I think it's unhealthy in relationships, especially because you guys are so connected to your phones, to have to know where somebody is and have to know what they're doing.
We did have a big lecture about this.
Yes. So find some space. It's like, it is fine. It's more than fine. It's okay. It's wonderful to be dating or with somebody who has a strong, confident, comfortable life.
Totally.
You don't have to be in his business all the time.
No, completely. I think that is like a learned thing. I think that with, not to sound old, but with like technology and the kids these days, it's like they're used to having their phones on them 24/7, being able to access their friends, their boyfriends, anyone who they want at any time.
But if I text you guys, how many times do you text your boyfriend a day? You're like, no, like 50. I'm like, 50 texts in one day? What do you say? Hey, what's up? What's up? Hey, what's up? How are you? Hey, you happy? Oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm working. That's what I'm doing. I'm working. Because that's what I do during the day. I work.
Right.
But what are you doing at work? I don't know what you're asking 50 times.
You're not a texter, though. So it's like unfair.
You're not a texter.
No, I know. That's just...
It's unbelievable.
You're right. But when I'm dating someone, like, yeah, I'd say I probably send them 50 texts a day. Like, just like even like once I get home, it's like, well, I also tend like send like text. You're one worders. Like if I send you 2 paragraphs, you're responding with okay.
Here's a pro tip for those young ladies out there dating. This is what Lexi's mom told me on our first date. Do you remember? Because I've told you this before.
No, I'm scared.
I don't like clingy guys.
Oh, so, yeah, that's awesome.
She wants independence.
Yeah, I love that.
She's an independent woman.
I feel like I am the exact same way.
Except for you texting 50 times.
Okay, I don't think that. See, this is where I feel like it's generational differences a little bit because I don't think that is that crazy.
I know, but
Same with the location thing. Like this is an open conversation we have in our family with like the texting your boyfriend, how much you text them, and
Mom just
having
put me
locations.
on Location 360 or whatever it's called.
I put you on.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I don't want you guys touching my phone.
But Ryan, I can't get into this. It's gonna be too heated. This is supposed to be a happy, wholesome situation. I'm not trying to get in a fight right now. But I think that there's definitely a healthy level. I think like in terms of the location thing, just to touch on it really quick, I don't think it's bad to have your partner's location. I think it's bad if you're checking where they are 50 times a day or 10 times a day.
If you're checking where they are one time a day.
Yeah.
You gotta find a new partner.
Totally
Or
agree.
check yourself.
I think that definitely check yourself because I've been the one that's like checking locations like 700 times. Yeah, but that's not me anymore.
Psycho girlfriend. No, I didn't raise a psycho girlfriend.
No, you didn't. But I think that everyone has had those things. Whereas like now it's
one
like
of us hasn't. Sitting at this table.
Right. You didn't
Your
have a
mom
phone
hasn't?
until you were like 30.
That's not true. I had my first phone when I was 23.
Yeah, but what kind of phone though?
It was a flip phone. That's all there was.
Right.
Your mom
That's
had
what
that
I'm
big
saying.
satellite phone when she first came out. Threw it in a backpack.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
She had the original, the OG.
Yeah, that's awesome. But no, I think that there's a healthy level. I think like you sharing your location with mom, it's like, and me, I shared it with mom and myself because it's like there's so many times when she wants to reach you or I want to reach you, or like the reason that I would check like my boyfriends is I'm like, oh, like, is he here yet? Or like if I'm trying to like reach out to you and you don't respond to me for 2 weeks, and I'm like, oh, because he's in Australia.
When does that happen? I'm not responding for 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's not instant.
It's
That's
not
the
instant.
problem. The culture today is everything has to be instant.
See,
He
I
left me
agree
on
with
red.
you. That's
Left
why
on red. He's busy. He's climbing a mountain. He's race car driving. He's working.
No, and I think that like that actually is like when you're not texting 24/7, it's like, oh, we both have lives outside of each other.
That is
and then
healthy.
it brings you totally. And then it's like when you're together, you actually have stuff to talk about
Yes.
because you're not texting 24/7.
That's independence.
Totally.
Okay.
Okay, wait, we're going to jump back to the dad advice of the week,
Yeah,
okay?
let's do it.
This week's question is, if someone has a very big goal or dream, but it feels daunting, it feels big, what do they do or how do they take the first step to achieve it?
I think first off, congratulations if you have a big dream. I think, I remember my father used to say to me all the time, he used to say, you can achieve anything you want. Like don't put limits on yourself. The ceiling is even too low. Keep pushing yourself. There's nothing you can't accomplish. And what a wonderful message. Hopefully you've heard some of those messages from me over the years, because I think those are the messages I think your kids need to hear.
Totally.
I think so many times as a child, you only know what you know. So it's why so many children of teachers become teachers. Mm-hmm. So many children of firemen become firemen. Mm-hmm. And so many children of sports executives go into sports. It's because it's the world you know.
It's so true.
And while it's fun and amazing, and it's great to kind of share that common bond, you're hoping that we're merely a stepping stone for this next generation to do even more incredible things. So first of all, anyone who has a big dream, if it's not scary enough, it's probably not big enough. If it doesn't make you anxious and almost nauseous, it's probably something you have to lift up and get bigger and better. But that first step is always the key, as is the second and third.
For sure.
And so I always encourage people just to take one step forward. And maybe it's one step forward every day. I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday who's kind of stuck. He's stuck in the mud, if you will, in life, in relationships, in his career, etc. And my counsel was, well, what if what if every day you took one step forward? And one step for him, some days, could be like shaving and making his bed.
For sure.
And we've all been in that zone. And one step forward could be making a call to connect and create an opportunity for work. Just one call a day. If you just do one, I think momentum begets momentum. And I feel like whether you're stuck in the mud or you have an audacious, big, incredible, amazing, scary dream that you're after, it always starts with that first step.
I love that. Boom.
Do you have any big, audacious dreams right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my biggest one right now probably is to blow up this podcast. Like, that's probably like my biggest thing that
I wish I could help you. Like, I actually have no idea how to do it.
No, I know.
I mean,
I know you don't.
Because I show up as talent for the first time in my life.
You're the talent. I know.
Yeah.
And you love that you're the talent.
Yes. Yeah, it's the first time in my life I've ever been talent.
And you kill it. You do the talent. You fill the talent role perfectly.
Even better.
It's great.
But you're supposed to do the other part.
Yeah.
I've been doing the other part for my entire career.
Right.
Now I just get to show up. You do all the preparation. You set everything up.
Yeah, I know.
You produce it with Ricky.
Yeah.
You build up all the questions.
Right.
It's great.
And you just show up.
I love being
talent. I
talent.
give you a 3-minute debrief what we're going to talk about right before we start.
Yeah, I wish I were talent my whole life.
You're so funny. Also, I'm so dying at like our whisper voices because everyone's asleep in the room next to us. So I'm like, we're just being so quiet. It's so funny.
It's good.
It's good. Okay, I love that advice. I think that's amazing. There was something that I wanted to say on it, but I forgot. Okay, let's talk really quick. Our golf lesson of the week. You guys were in Dallas this past week. Who won? How was it? What was your favorite part?
Merrido Golf Club. Albert Huddleston is the owner of the club. Wonderful guy. Dallas was scorching hot.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
95 some odd degrees, a bit humid out there. And Patrick Reed,
won.
Nicknamed Captain America, wins. Great
that
nickname.
That is awesome. Great nickname.
He got that nickname in the Ryder Cup. Hopefully he's on the Ryder Cup team this year.
He should be.
Coming up. Yeah, he's a heck of a player.
Wait, that's amazing. Good for him.
He's wonderful. He's had a very fascinating career. He's a very much, he played like the villain when he was on the PGA Tour, and now at LIV, he's really enjoying life. Yeah. He's working his tail off. Plays somewhere between 35 and 40 events a year, which would be among the highest of anybody at his level.
Wow.
Yeah, former Masters champion.
Wow.
Known for his short game, extraordinary player.
Oh, that's
You know
awesome.
what a short game is?
That's yes. Short game is when you're by the flag and you're putting it.
Sure. And usually like anything inside of 100 yards.
100? That's not short. So it's not just putting.
But he's putting and chipping. Do you know what chipping is?
No.
Okay, that's.
Is it where you hit it from under the ball and it's like it goes like ding?
Another dad fail.
What is chipping?
Chipping is when you use a wedge or.
I actually know what that one looks like. It's flat.
No, that's a putter. Wedge is big loft.
Yes.
Nonetheless, so Patrick has one of the best short games in the world.
Okay, love it.
And had a 10-stroke lead after the second hole in 18, and then it forced a playoff. So that means 4 guys were tied, playoff at the end. And
whoa, that's exciting.
Yeah, so we teed them all off, 4-ball, winner take all, and Patrick hit this 16-foot incredible birdie.
Wait, so they all play one hole then as a championship or like the tiebreaker?
Yes. And right. And if
how do you choose what the hole is?
It's the one where all the crowd's around on 18. So it's like you have the whole crowd there.
That is so exciting. Buzzing. Does that happen often?
No. It's the first time all year for us. So it was really fun. And to have 4 guys tied was amazing.
Who were the 4?
So it was Louie, the captain of Stinger, Ginny, who plays for the Ironheads.
Okay.
Oh, and Paul Casey.
Oh, cool.
From the Crushers. Yeah,
Super cool.
It was a real power group.
Yeah, that's
coming
amazing.
down the stretch was absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that's
great drama.
So great. And like all the events outside of the golf, they were fun.
They were good. We had some celebrities there.
Okay. Who?
Do you know who Chris Tucker is?
Oh, the comedian.
Actor, comedian.
Yes, only because you were telling me about him.
And my favorite, there were a ton of celebrities there, but my favorite one, not Titus O'Neil, same name, WWE wrestler, but
nice.
Ozzie Smith, the Wizard of Oz.
What?
One of the best
What?
shortstops in the history of the game of baseball.
Oh.
Hall of Famer. Wait. Oh no. I honestly don't even want to. Ricky might have to cut this. I don't even want to know what you were thinking about with Ozzie Smith. Thinking of Ozzy Osbourne, weren't you?
I thought you said the Wizard of Oz. I thought you were talking about like the original guy who played the Wizard of Oz.
So Ozzie Smith, St. Louis Cardinals, would come out every game, do a handspring into a backflip.
What?
And played till he was like 40 years old.
What?
No, he was insane. And he was just magic.
Wait, that's crazy.
Yeah, magician with the glove.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was great.
Wow. So I need to meet him now.
I can't believe you thought the real Wizard of Oz was here. That's troubling on several fronts.
So
I love that you're like, I really need to meet him then. Almost saying that with a straight face. Caitlin would love it.
Kate, Wizard of Oz.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so back to independence. Yeah. Independence Day. Independence.
Do you remember when that summer when I used to sing, "It's the summer of independence"? So for those of you raising daughters out there, we had a summer of independence. I strongly recommend it.
Tell them what we did. Tell them what it was.
Well, what it was
what year was it? It had to have been.
You were probably 16.
Yeah,
16,
that
17.
makes sense.
And so we had, Lisa and I, my wife and I had this epiphany that maybe we were just pampering these girls too much. And maybe their lives were a bit too easy. And we were worried and concerned that when they left for school, they wouldn't have any definable skill set. So like, it would be like dropping a little baby off in the wilderness. So we made a list of like, this list was like 50 things. You had to learn, like how to cook mac and cheese, how to iron. Yeah, don't say you knew because you didn't know anything. How to wash your clothes. It was like the basics.
No, it was like laundry.
And we put it literally on the fridge and we would check it off if they got a skill set like they were little kids with little stickers.
And it was awesome.
And every time
we actually ended up getting into it.
Yeah, but every time you guys would complain, I would start singing the song.
It's a song about
independence. Yeah, so it still rings in my head. It was a great summer. You learned a lot of
Sometimes
skills.
you just sing it.
And then, remember I don't know if you remember this, but I told you I was doing my laundry when I was 5 years old, and you were like, no, you didn't. I'm like, call your grandmother right now. And you called her, and she says, of course at 5 years old. We wanted to teach our children to be self-reliant.
And is that true? Were you you were really doing your laundry at 5 years old?
5 years old.
Can 5-year-olds even like talk?
Are you serious? 5-year-old cousins.
I don't know. Between the ages of like 4 to 13, it's all a blur.
Okay, let's move on. So how do you raise independent daughters?
Yeah. How do you raise independent daughters? Because all 4 of us are extremely independent.
Yes.
We're all extremely different and we're all extremely independent.
Right.
So I think that there are really good things about that and maybe some bad things.
There
I don't
are
know.
bad things. There are. It's harder when you have strong, independent women in the house because it's like having 4 alphas in the house.
Right. For example, when we're trying to decide like where to eat or honestly anything, everyone is very confident that they'll get their own way. And I think that's awesome.
But the balance between, independence and pushing you to do certain things. Like one of the things Eliza, Lexi's youngest sister, will say is like she wishes we pushed her harder on sports because she only fell into loving sports when she was 16. It was a bit late for her to she did great, but to take off. And when she was 7, 8, 9, 10, she was like not having it.
Right.
And so as a dad, how are you finding that balance?
How do you find that balance?
I don't know. I think I mean the way we did it was every one of you were very different.
Yeah.
And we were trying to feed your greatness. So whatever skill set you had, we weren't trying to focus so much on the things that you weren't so good at, but more encourage the things where you gravitated towards, whether it was passion.
I love
both
that.
Your mom and I believe that if you feed the beast of passion, then good things happen over time. That's how you gain confidence. That's how you learn how to accomplish and do good things, and then you seem to work harder if it's something you really enjoy.
Totally.
And so we seem to feed that. And then generally we would step in occasionally, but generally you were enabled and empowered to make the decisions you wanted to make to best live your life, knowing that there were things you had to do as part of the family. And, you had to go to church, you had to go to school, you had to, play basketball. So some things that you had to do as a daughter.
Playing basketball was.
Like church and school.
Yeah, and my kids will be the exact same. That will not be an option.
And then, so I think that was it. I think empowering you to make decisions, encouraging you to have a strong voice, not shutting you down if we had a difference. I think there were a lot of things that we did, and it seems to have worked out. But it did make it for a bit more adventurous when you were teenagers.
Well, I feel like I just want to say, like, you guys did such a good job of that. I mean, like, obviously you can see the results. Like, we're very.
What's that emoji face?
That. You guys obviously did like a great job of this, and I feel like since like the time like even Eliza was younger, like when we were making decisions, like it was family decisions. Like we all had our say in vacations and literally and what movie we were gonna watch, and like it was always like an open conversation. It was always a discussion. It was never like, oh well, we're the parents and this is what we're doing. I mean, obviously there are times like we had those certain things, like you said, church, basketball, school, like that we had to do. And then other than that, it was like, yeah, I mean, like, let's figure this out together.
And I think we did the best we could to let you go at your own pace. I mean, you were like a young kid for a really long time. You're watching Barney when you were like 18. But let's
clarify. It wasn't Barney. It was Arthur until I was maybe 14, 15, 16.
What is DW's real name?
Oh, I actually have no idea. What is DW's real name?
I don't know. Put it in the comments if you know.
Arthur is one of the greatest like shows of all time. It has to be. It's by far the greatest kids show of all time, for sure. I mean,
I can't comment because this is ridiculous conversation.
No, it is funny though, because it's like I feel like this is gonna sound so weird. I feel like in a lot of ways, like all of us, or at least Kira and I, grew up like together. Like when she started like wearing different things and like watching different things, so did I. Like I wasn't the one that was starting off like the train of like, I want to watch Disney Channel.
I just had an awful flashback.
Oh no, I'm scared.
So you were like 13 years old.
Oh no.
And you're like, hey Terry, do you want to see my new bra? Remember that? Do you remember that?
Terry Haggerty.
Yeah, Mr. Haggerty.
In the line of Brayton.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I think
goodness.
I was in 4th grade.
Yeah.
I got my first training bra, and we were just lined up outside Brayton Elementary School.
I knew at that moment we were in trouble.
And yeah, it was my first day wearing a training bra, so I was showing it off.
Yeah.
I was hyped. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
and that's when it all began. And
that was the beginning of it all. Do you remember when I wore the shower cap to school?
Yeah, what was the play there?
There was lice going around.
Oh, well, that's a good move. Then.
There was lice going around. I think maybe it was also in 4th grade, maybe 5th grade, but there was lice going around, and I didn't want to get lice, so I wore a shower cap to school for like.
And she rocked that thing with confidence.
Absolutely.
O'Neill family trait.
Yep.
O'Neill family trait. What we lack in talent, we make up for in confidence.
What we lack in talent, we make up for in confidence. There has never been a more true thing spoken about O'Neill's. I am not kidding you. It is the truest real thing. I've never heard a more true thing spoken about myself. It's true. Like, and honestly, I think that is my skill. You know, everyone's like good at something. I think, yeah.
Confidence is a strength. It's a wonderful strength.
Yeah. Like,
if there's one thing you want for your daughter, I want them to be strong. I want them to be independent. I would like them to be confident.
And even if it's false confidence or blind confidence, it should be.
Sometimes
it's even better.
Yes. Marilee Boyack used to say, Lisa, my mom, her mom, my wife Lisa, saw this woman speak several times, and she had this notion of like act as if. And meaning before you're confident, act as if you are. And I just love that notion, because everyone has insecurities. Everyone is feeling uncomfortable. Everyone is feeling awkward. Think of Eliza going to Villanova for the first time. So you step on that campus, you step in that dorm room, you're still going to have a little anxiety. Like, how am I going to fit in? How's it going to be?
I think about that with like a new job. Yes.
Walk into a new relationship.
Totally.
Whatever the case may be. And there's this notion of acting as if until you catch up with yourself.
I
is a pretty good
love
notion.
that. And mom, yeah, I mean, she definitely preaches that. Like our entire life, she would always say like, fake it till you make it. You know, like if you have a bad day, it's like you go and you can't go to school. You go in and you pretend like you are just good, and then you come home and you crash and you let it out. Like it's not like you suppress your emotions. It's that you go out with.
I would
this,
love
like,
for you to suppress your emotions just one day.
That is
Just
so
maybe
crazy.
1 minute.
That would be boring for everyone. Maybe
would
1
be.
minute. That would be boring for
I
everyone.
would say though, we talked a lot about too this being a safe place. So
Totally.
in terms of building confidence and building independence, you always knew that you could come here and this was safe.
For sure.
It was safe. It was a place you could be yourself. It was a space you could let loose. It was a place you could cry or scream or be upset and laugh and have fun. But that no matter what was going on in the outside world, the home should always be a safe haven.
For sure. And home is subjective. Home doesn't have to be where you live.
That's right.
It can be with different people, with your friend group, with your teachers, with wherever it is. Like you do need to have, it's like a big thing I wanted to touch on with independence is that there is a huge difference between being independent and like being alone. Being independent does not mean that you push people away and that you walk by yourself. When I feel like that is what it sounds like. When you hear independence, you think you're alone, but that's not what it is. Like, I feel like the more independent I get, the more I realize, oh, I do need my people around me.
I think that's great. That's a great insight. I had never even made that connection between that. You might think it's alone, but independence is a confidence that you're self-reliant, that you can take care of yourself in all aspects, and that as you get older, you appreciate the impact and influence that others can have to strengthen that resolve.
Yes, no, totally. And I feel like with that too, it's like there is a lot of, like, as you get older and you naturally will become more independent, hopefully, it's like there are a lot of things that come with independence of like making money and having a job and whatever, and all of these things, like just like outside pressure and everything, like those things like are heavy. So you can't be independent without a support system,
That's
like
right.
I feel like you need that connection.
Right.
Is it possible to be too independent?
Well, I would say the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. That's not
I
mine.
love that.
That's not mine.
Oh, that was really good.
Kipling, yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah, he's a big famous author. It's a really famous quote. I just riffed on that one. But nonetheless,
Off the dome, that's crazy.
I feel like that is the essence of, or excellence, when you find that strength and independence by yourself, and then also you use that independence to help be part of a team and be something special.
Totally. I love that. Okay. I just have a couple more questions. We're going to speed through and then we're going to wrap this up. Okay. When did you first feel independence in your life?
I feel like the first time I had independence was I was 16 years old, and I went with a basketball team to Spain. So when I had my first drink. Vodka y naranja, as they say in Spain.
Is that orange juice?
Yes.
Wow. At 16?
I was living with a host family.
Oh my gosh.
It was kind of like a peace, love, and basketball travel.
I love that.
Yeah. I spent a month with a wonderful family over there, and it traveled around, in northern Spain, Gijón and Oviedo, and up in that direction. And actually, the World Basketball Championships were there, where Sean Elliott and Steve Kerr, who's now the coach of the Warriors, was playing. And because we were Americans, they weren't very Americans in Spain, we actually got to spend some time with them.
Wait, what?
And that's when Steve Kerr became my favorite college basketball player.
Wait, I love that.
Yeah, it was really fun.
So cute.
But our first game, bench clearing brawl. Yeah. The European game was much more physical than the American game.
Really?
Back then. Yeah, back then.
Why is that?
And the Spanish team was always good. I know the Gasol brothers later on, which you probably remember.
Yeah.
But back then, Fernando Martin was the big, strong Spanish forward.
Him.
Yeah, well, he's from my era.
Oh, wow.
Ended up playing in the NBA. But Spain has a long history and tradition of basketball, and having, I didn't speak much Spanish, still don't, but having that experience over there, that was the first time I was away.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, what was the first time you felt truly independent? Is it that?
I'm not sure I've ever felt truly independent. I feel like, I mean, when you get married, I mean, it depends on how the purest answer a question
Right.
is, but when you're married and then we have children relatively quickly, you're responsible. I mean,
Yeah.
there's maybe independent is the wrong phrase, but this notion of maybe independence and how you equate that with freedom,
Totally.
because you're your team. You get married, you're a team
Absolutely.
forever and a day.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Adorbus. What was your first independent purchase, like big boy purchase?
14 years old, I'm digging pools, working for Ted Schrammick's pool company, and I bought a waterbed. Because at
That's
14,
amazing.
like, that's what you want.
Right.
And it was heated water. Like, what? I never had money
It was
before.
heated?
Yeah,
Your bed was heated.
heated bed.
That's so sick.
But
That's
I
so
never,
sick.
I never had. I mean,
I
that was probably the
love
peak of
that.
my disposable income.
A waterbed is so good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's adorable. I love that. Um, was okay. Was there a specific moment, or when were you most like scared for me being independent that you had to be like, oh, I gotta take a step back and watch?
There was only one time that I was a bit anxious. Was when you were at UVU, your college, university, and you moved into what I thought was a scary place in Salt Lake, in the city. And then you told me a story about a guy like walking into your apartment and you like actually using your skills to scare that guy off by calling a roommate who wasn't there into a room. That made me anxious. That was the one time, and your mom and I talked about it quite a bit, and you seem to navigate out of that pretty good. But
Yeah.
whenever there's any fear for physical safety, that's enough. That was one. The second one was after the fact. We went in for His Royal Highness's wedding in Athens, and you were my date.
Best weekend ever.
You were my
Like
date.
literally
Yeah.
best weekend ever.
And we were in Athens, and you had worked in a Syrian refugee camp there in Athens, and we went to your apartment and had bars on the window, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You lived here? And you're like, oh, Dad, I'll never forget it. You're like, oh, Dad, you think this is bad? You should see the subway. And I was like, what?
I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah. And then you said-
I showed him where I lived for like a month and a half, and he was like, I cannot
It's a bad dad moment. Yeah, it's a bad dad moment.
Wasn't a bad dad moment. I grew a lot
No, it
from
was. I know, I'm sure you did. And then I was asking you questions because we'd never really engaged on what the camp was like.
Right.
I'm like, do you ever feel you're at risk? 2-3 times. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So this notion of
Yeah.
physical safety.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's all kinds of different safety, right? There's emotional safety and all.
Completely.
But physical safety, that was not perfect.
Yeah. No, I mean, totally. Yeah, those were both two. I mean, the camp, the camp is crazy. The hostel we lived in was crazy. But yeah, that time in my apartment in Salt Lake was like maybe the scariest moment of my life. Like
Yeah.
the only time I really was like, oh, I might be.
Right.
Yeah, story for another time. That was, yeah, not good. Okay. How hard is it to step back and watch your kids become independent?
It's hard, but for me, we all have different perspectives, and your mom grew up in a very enabling, protective household, and I grew up in a really, really independent household. Neither is right, neither is wrong. There are aspects of each that we like to bring to parenthood. But my parents were hippies, both PhDs, and it was a laboratory growing up, and we grew up with 3 rules: don't hurt each other, don't hurt your mother, no girls in the bedroom, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so we had a very, very different childhood and
Totally.
experience in terms of them trying to grow and enable and empower us to be strong. And we have aspects of that in raising you. But seeing moments where you're making the wrong decision and walking down that wrong path, or that you're flailing or failing, and coaching you and sharing experiences and hoping and wishing and working with you to try to have you work that out versus us work it out.
Yeah.
That's just easy for me to call a teacher and say X. But for you to say, hey, you need to go see your teacher, what do you think you should be saying? Well, I'm not going. Okay. Well, let me share an experience. This is what I did.
Right.
You might want to consider that. And usually you all took that kind of counsel. But it's hard. It's nothing, like, you don't understand pain until your child is hurt or hurting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's the deepest cuts that you take. And then you as a parent decide where you go helicopter and rescue them, or you let them work through it. And the decision you make as a dad will truly guide how that kid sees the world going forward. And so
that's so crazy.
It is. And that balance between keep them safe and rescue versus push them out on the ledge and see if they'll make the right decisions that is why teenage years are so harrowing for parents. That's why they're sleepless nights. That's why you worry about, because you don't want your child to make a decision at 17 years old where it's the biggest gap between what you know and what you think you know is when you're 17. It's this big.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you get my age, 55, you don't know anything. So the gap is so small. But when you're 17, you think you know everything, and you just don't want them to make life-altering, life-changing, life-defining decisions at 17.
Yeah. Being a parent, man, that sounds crazy.
Let's get married first.
Yeah. No, I actually feel like in a weird way I can relate to what you're saying. Like, it just in the sense of like being like the oldest and like looking down to my sisters, like, and just sometimes like I've gotten in fights with I think all of my sisters about being too parenty and just like taking a step back.
Yeah.
But
maybe we should take that pro tip for this weekend.
No, and I have been, but it is really hard for me, like, this is from like a sister to sibling perspective, is like to not be like, bro, I made this mistake, don't do it.
I know,
like,
but nobody was telling you that, and you ended up
and
okay.
I wish they did. Yeah,
no,
you're right, I did end up
because
great.
You're doing amazing. So I just think here's some dad advice for you. It's like, love them.
Yeah,
just
totally.
love them and support them and enable them and empower them and inspire them and root for them. Like, they don't need another parent. They got two of them.
For sure. You
should say that 10 times when you wake up in the morning.
I have motherly instincts. It's hard for me.
Oh my goodness.
It's hard for me. Okay. Slay.
Yeah.
Should we wrap up with a little guess the Disney character?
Yeah. Do you have one?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay, let me think. Think. Okay, have it.
Is it Eeyore?
Nope.
Is it a boy?
Yes.
Is it a friend of Mickey's?
No.
Is it?
But I feel like they would be friends.
Is it in the Princess movie?
Yes.
Is it in the Belle?
No.
Is it in Flynn Rider?
No. Wait, in Tangled, you mean?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know what it is.
It was Grumpy.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
It's not like the Seven Dwarfs. How do you pick Grumpy? You're the least grumpy person I've ever met.
I know. A couple people actually reached out to me after last week's episode, and they're like, why is Eeyore your favorite Disney character?
So
it makes no sense.
And
I know.
Grumpy Eeyore?
I think I
like
just
an alter
feel,
ego?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's like my empathy. I'm like, I want to give him a hug and make him feel better. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode of the Girl Dad Podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, send it to your friends, send it to your family.